Congratulations on the purchase of your Northern Industrial Tools MIG 135 wire feed welder. This welder will help you attain professional looking welds on many of your steel, stainless steel, and aluminum projects. Let's get started by removing your welder from the carton. First, thoroughly inspect the exterior of the carton for any kind of shipping damage. Shipping damage claims should be addressed with your shipping provider. Remove the welder and accessories from the carton and properly dispose of the packaging materials. This welder package should contain a welding unit, a MIG gun, a ground cable and clamp, a gas hose and regulator, a small consumables package including 2 contact tips, a nozzle, and an L-shaped hex wrench, 2 spools of sample wire, an 8-inch spool adapter, and the operator's manual. Your operator's manual provides important safety information that can help protect you and others around you. Be certain to review all safety information so you can be sure to safely enjoy your new purchase. Let's take a little time to understand your new welder. The on-off switch is in the upper left corner of the unit's front control panel. The wire feed speed control knob will help you vary the speed that the wire travels to the weld puddle. The voltage control knob allows you to choose from 4 different voltage ranges. The gas regulator and hose will supply the unit with shielding gas for projects that require shielding gas. These items would not be used for flux cord wire. The MIG gun delivers welding current, welding wire, and shielding gas to the area being welded. The welding arc is similar to a light bulb in that it requires a completed electrical circuit in order to function. The ground cable and ground clamp will complete the electrical circuit back to the unit. The side access panel opens up, giving you access to the wire compartment. Inside you'll find the spool holder, the wire drive assembly, and the welder setup guide. On the back of the unit you will see the input power cord, the gas input connection for when using shielding gas, and the reset button for current overload protection. The welding process does produce sparks that may cause fires. Be certain to keep your welding area free of flammable materials. Make certain to have a fire extinguisher handy in the event a fire does occur. This unit uses electricity to produce a welding arc. To avoid electrical shock, make certain your welding area is dry. Never weld in a damp, wet, or humid environment. The welding arc produces harmful ultraviolet and infrared rays. Be sure to properly protect your eyes and skin from damage. A welding helmet with an ANSI-approved lens shade of at least 9 should be used. It is also recommended that you use a flame retardant cap, coat, and pants, along with gloves to protect all bare skin areas. Keep other people away from you while you're welding. It is a good idea to use proper screens and other barriers to protect others from the welding arc. Always inspect your welder before each use. Make certain the ground cable, power cord, and MIG gun are free of damage. Replace the damaged components prior to use. Be careful to make certain that you do not accidentally come in contact with the welding wire or the ground cable and clamp while you're welding. You can also prevent injuries by being aware of moving parts and keeping your fingers away from the drive rolls. It is always wise to disconnect the power before maintaining or adjusting the welder components. Use this rule of thumb. If the sheet metal needs to come off, bring it to a qualified technician. For more about safety, please take a moment to review the operator's manual. Now let's work on installing a spool of wire. Remove the wing nut, washer, and black bushing from the spool hub. Install the 4-inch spool of wire so that the wire will feed off the bottom of the spool. Reinstall the black bushing, washer, and the wing nut. If you are using an 8-inch spool of wire, you will first need to install an 8-inch spool hub adapter. Remove the wing nut, washer, and the black bushing. Slide on the 8-inch spool adapter and reinstall the black bushing, washer, and wing. Make note of the notch in the 8-inch hub adapter. This notch will align with the hole in the side of the 8-inch spool of wire. Slide the 8-inch spool onto the hub all the way to the back of the hub and secure. Now we can feed wire through the drive assembly and into the gun. Loosen the drive tension wing nut and open up the drive tension arm. Next, we will need to remove the drive roll. Take the supplied L-shaped hex wrench and remove the drive roll from the drive shaft. While holding the wire to make certain it does not uncoil, use a wire snips to free the loose end of the wire. The welding wire is wound up like a spring, so make certain to keep tension on the wire. Feed the loose wire end through the inlet guide below the drive tension adjuster. Slowly hand feed the wire across the drive roll and feed the wire through the front of the machine. Now reinstall the drive roll and secure in place using the L-shaped hex wrench. Close the drive tension arm and reinstall the drive tension adjuster. Next, find the hex-headed retaining screw on the wire drive assembly and remove it. On the front of the machine, feed the trigger leads through the opening below the gun receptacle. Slide the wire into the end of the MIG gun and push the MIG gun all the way into the feeder. Reinstall the hex-headed retaining screw. Make sure to hand tighten. Now install the trigger leads into the trigger lead receptacles. Next, remove the nozzle and the contact tip from the MIG gun. Turn the wire feed speed control on the front panel to approximately 5 or 6. Reconnect the input power and turn on the unit. Pull the trigger on the gun so that the drive rolls turn and the wire will automatically feed through the gun. When the wire has extended past the end of the gun, release the trigger and turn off the input power. Slide the proper size contact tip over the tip of the wire and secure the contact tip to the gun. Reinstall the welding nozzle and snip the excess wire past the nozzle. To make certain that the wire feeds smoothly and so that it does not recoil on the spool, we need to adjust the spool hub drag. Turn the welder on and while watching the spool of wire, pull the trigger for about 2 seconds. When the trigger is released, the spool should continue to turn just enough to put a small amount of slack in the welding wire. If the spool turns too far, the welding wire on the spool will uncoil. With a heavy welding glove in one hand, try feeding the wire from the gun into the other hand. Keep the gun about 4 inches away from your hand. Adjust the drive tension wing nut until the wire coils into your gloved hand without the wire slipping in the drive rolls. Next, we're going to install the shielding gas. You will need to select the proper shielding gas for your welding application. For MIG welding steel, generally you'll be using a CO2 and argon mixture. For MIG welding aluminum, the shielding gas you will use will be straight argon. If welding stainless steel, typically a 3-gas mixture is used. You will want to make certain no debris is in the receptacle of the shielding gas bottle. A quick crack of the valve will blow any debris out. Next, install the regulator right onto the bottle. The gas hose then connects to the regulator and to the gas valve on the back of the welding unit. You should test the regulator to make certain it is set at 20 cubic feet per minute. Your machine comes with a handy setup guide on the inside of the wire compartment door. Find the material you are welding and the size of the wire that you are using. Set the voltage and the wire feed speed on the front control panel. Make certain the machine polarity is correctly set for the type of wire you are using. Install the ground cable by feeding the ground cable lead through the opening in the front of the machine. Remove the wing nut and washers on the weld output stud and install the round terminal end of the ground cable to the stud. Replace the washers and the wing nut. Be certain to tighten. You may need to fine-tune your settings depending on your welding conditions or the position you are welding in. Test out the settings on a scrap piece of material. Your new welding unit is now ready to use. If you would like more assistance with the setup and operation of this welder, please call our welder helpline toll-free at 1-877-304-0294.